She knocked softly on the door of apartment 503, a hesitant smile on her lips and her phone already in hand. Emily had just moved into the building and, in the rush of unpacking boxes, realized she had no Wi-Fi. Desperate to send a work email, she remembered the receptionist saying the guy next door was nice and helpful. That was enough for her to risk the short walk down the hallway in flip-flops and a loose t-shirt that barely covered her shorts. The door opened, and there he was, Noah. Slightly messy hair, a low-cut tank top, and eyes that made her forget her question. "Hey," she said, a little breathless. "Sorry to bother you. I just moved in next door and was wondering if you could share the Wi-Fi password for a moment, just to send something quick." He smiled, leaning slightly against the frame. "Sure, but the signal's weak through the wall. Want to come in and connect directly?" Emily hesitated. Just a second, she thought. No harm in that. She stepped inside, and as he closed the door, a chill ran down her back. Not from fear, but from the sudden awareness of the space they now shared. It smelled of coffee, cedar wood, and something she couldn't name. Something that made her want to stay. The password was written on a sticky note stuck to the fridge, but before reaching for her phone, Emily caught her reflection in the microwave door. Her shirt had slipped slightly off one shoulder. She adjusted it quickly, cheeks flushing, and turned back to Noah. He hadn't said a word, but his glance spoke volumes. Emily sat on the edge of his couch, phone in hand, pretending to check for connection. But the truth was, she hadn't typed a single word yet. Her fingers hovered above the screen, distracted by the quiet hum of music playing softly in the background, a jazzy rhythm that filled the space between their glances. Noah brought 2 glasses of sparkling water. "It's hot today," he said casually, handing her a glass. Their fingers brushed for a second, light, but enough to make her heart skip a beat. She smiled, sipping slowly, trying to stay calm while her legs instinctively crossed, tightening the hem of her loose shirt. "So, what do you do?" he asked, sitting at the far end of the couch. Still polite, still composed, but his knee pointed toward her, and that small detail felt louder than his voice. "I'm a graphic designer, working remotely, which means no internet, no paycheck. Guess I saved your career today," he joked. She laughed, soft, nervous, and more flirtatious than intended. The tension was growing, but it was still gentle, like an unspoken agreement that something could happen if they both allowed it. He leaned back, arms stretched across the top of the couch. It wasn't a move to intimidate, it was relaxed, open, but it made her aware of how close they actually were. The signal was perfect now, both on her phone and in the way their bodies slowly sank. Emily shifted her weight. Her bare thigh grazed the couch cushion where his hand rested. He didn't pull away. She still hadn't sent that email. Emily shifted slightly on the couch, pretending to scroll on her phone, but she couldn't concentrate. The room felt warmer, or maybe it was just the way Noah's gaze lingered a little longer now. He wasn't speaking, but his silence spoke volumes. It was comfortable, yet full of tension. He pointed to the router on the shelf. "If it ever goes out again, feel free to stop by." "Dangerous offer," she teased, glancing over the rim of her glass. "You barely know me. That's the fun part." There it was, a spark. Not too obvious, not aggressive, but enough to shift the air between them. Emily set her phone down. Her fingers brushed her knee, slowly sliding up to adjust the edge of her loose dress. She wasn't doing it on purpose. Or maybe she was. Either way, she noticed his breath hitch, almost imperceptibly, but enough. She looked around, said, "I like your place. It feels private." He smirked. "It has its perks." They both laughed, but the energy wasn't casual anymore. It was loaded. The kind of vibe that builds slowly and then lingers in silence. The kind that makes you hyper-aware of how your skin feels, how close your knee is to theirs, how soft your voice suddenly gets. Emily reached for his glass. Their arms brushed. Emily didn't move this time. His voice dropped, just slightly. Noah stood and walked to the kitchen. "Want some water?" he asked casually. Emily nodded, watching how relaxed he moved. The way his shirt clung to his back slightly, the soft sound of his bare feet on the wooden floor. Everything about him felt effortless, familiar but exciting. When he returned, she reached for the glass, and their fingers touched again, this time lingering a second longer. Neither pulled away. It was subtle, but unmistakable. "Thanks," she said, voice softer now. Noah sat back down, a bit closer than before. Not enough to make it obvious, but enough that she noticed, that he wanted her to notice. Emily crossed her legs, slow and graceful. The hem of her dress rose just slightly, brushing against her thighs. His eyes didn't drop, but she could feel the attention, like static in the air. "So," she began, running a finger along the edge of her glass, "is your Wi-Fi always this strong?" He chuckled, leaning back. "Only when someone interesting connects to it." She laughed too, letting her head fall back slightly, exposing the line of her neck. The moment stretched again, thick with unspoken tension. Their laughter faded, leaving behind something heavier. Not awkward, not uncomfortable, just charged. "Careful," he said, his voice now more serious, low. Noah leaned forward slightly, his voice dropping even lower. "You know, the Wi-Fi isn't the only thing that gets better with the right connection." Emily raised an eyebrow, amused and intrigued. "Oh yeah? And what else improves?" He smiled, eyes locked on hers. "Everything." Her breath hitched, just a little. There was no more pretending. The playfulness still lingered, but now it carried weight, intent. The silence between them didn't beg to be filled. It invited. He brushed a strand of hair from her face, fingers barely grazing her cheek. "You've got a few signals of your own, Emily, and you've been decoding them pretty well," she replied, leaning in just enough that her words floated directly to his lips. The space between them vanished like it had never existed. They didn't rush. The moment unraveled slowly. Every breath, every glance, a gentle pull closer. His hand found her waist, grounding her, while her fingertips slid up his chest like they belonged there. Their eyes didn't close, not yet. They watched each other with that kind of quiet hunger that builds before anything even happens. And when their lips finally met, it wasn't loud or desperate. It was quiet, like a secret finally spoken. When they pulled apart, just barely, he whispered, "Told you the connection was strong." She laughed, soft and breathless. "Guess I'm fully synced now." He traced his thumb across her bottom lip, eyes steady. "You sure you don't need